Father Jose Bautista. I'm a pastor of Our Lady of Perpetual Help here in the city of Los Nietos. Well, I was born in Guadalajara, Mexico, and so I'm from Guadalajara and lived there most of my life as a kid, as a child there, and in Jalpa, Zacatecas also, which is where my parents are originally from. They moved to Guadalajara, where I was born. But at a young age, I think I was about 8 or 9 years old, they brought us over to the States. And then eventually we went back because we were all over the States. That's why it's hard for me to understand how when people are able to live in one place, it's beautiful, but I have a hard time imagining. So because I moved a lot. We were here in the States probably from the age of 8 years old to about 14, 15, and we moved maybe about 12 times. Yeah, and we lived here in California in many different places, East LA, Oxnard, Ontario, everywhere here in California they could imagine, El Sereno and different places of East LA, and then Arizona. But eventually we ended up back in Mexico. I was 15 years old, I think, when we went back to Mexico, to Guadalajara. And I stayed there for about over a year when I decided I needed to come back to the States and to help out the family. So I came down to work, and I worked for a few years until I finally decided that I wanted to explore my vocation to the priesthood. When I wanted to explore my vocation to the priesthood, I didn't really think it was possible. It was more like an impossible dream. Especially when I found out that you had to go to school. And I was like, what do you mean I have to go to school? I thought you just have to know the Bible. But I had no educational background. Didn't even have an 8th grade diploma. And I needed to work a lot on my English. So luckily for me, and the Cardinal Mahoney back then started a program called Casa Reina, in which it was a home in which we were able to gather some young men who were exploring their vocations to the priesthood, but needed to work on their English or high school, and I needed both. So eventually, after going through a Come and See retreat, I wanted to go in seminary, and I applied. And eventually I got accepted into this program, and we used to live at the old Our Lady Queen of Angels grounds in San Fernando, and we used to drive every day to downtown LA to Evans Community Adult School. And so that's where I finished my ESL and finished my 8th grade diploma and my high school. I did that in 2 years, and then I got accepted to St. John's Seminary. There are struggles, like life has struggles. There are those difficult moments, the loneliness that comes with it. But how that loneliness blessed me in being able to spend time with me. Loneliness is not being isolated, it's about having the opportunity to be with yourself and get to know yourself and explore yourself. And in a very special manner of going deep, deep, deep inside you. So you're not spending time maybe with somebody else when you're alone, but that's the opportunity to spend time with the person that should be most important besides God is you. And I did 9 years in the military, and that was one of the most blessing experiences ever. Even in the midst of chaos, I was deployed, I went to war, saw the worst of humanity, because that's what you see at war. Human beings killing each other. But in the midst of all that chaos, you're able to see the grace of God work through those caring for the people who are wounded and hurt, and you get to do a different type of ministry when you're talking to teenagers, and I call them teenagers, 18, 19-year-olds, 20 years old, who are dealing with life issues that literally they're seeing death in the face. So death is a reality for them. And when death is a reality to you, it transforms your life. It makes you change, see the way you see life. You know, a lot of people are tortured when they're discerning their vocation. That's what I experienced. And I wish somebody had sat down with me back then and said, don't sweat it. Just learn to tone yourself to be able to hear God's voice. You're overthinking things. We're afraid to make mistakes. We're afraid this is a life-changing experience. What am I going to do with my life? Just learn to listen to God and act. God will direct you. Don't be afraid that you start a path in which you think God's calling you, and then you say, what if it's not? Hey, the fact that you went that road, that's God's will. He might lead you a different way later. That's okay.